As we have been getting heaps of requests regarding how to do your tax return as an international student in Australia, we decided to make a video on that. So in this video, we're gonna give you a quick step-by-step guide on how you can do your tax return in Australia. Let's get started. Now the good thing is that you can actually do your own tax return for free in Australia. It's quite easy, straightforward process, and we'll show you how you can do it yourself. Now please note that we are not financial advisors, so this is not a financial advice, but this is just a general guide and it's only for educational purposes. But this guide will certainly give you an idea on how you can lodge your own tax return. So we'll take an example of this international student. His name is Sam. He is studying his Masters of Accounting in Melbourne and he is working as a checkout operator in Coles supermarket. Again, please note that this is just an example and for illustration purposes only. Your circumstances might be different, and if your tax return is complex in nature, we highly recommend you to speak to an accountant. Now this quick guide will cover information regarding a simple tax return. Now usually the tax return is due on 31st of October, but this year it's due on 2nd of November because 31st is falling on the weekend. So without further wasting any time, let's dive in. So step number 1 is MyGov account. Now if you already have got the MyGov account, that's great, then you can certainly skip this step. But if you haven't got a MyGov account, it's important you need to have it if you are going to do your own tax return. Now getting a MyGov account is really easy, simple and free. All you need to do is go on MyGov website and select an option to create an account. Now we found a really good video from ATO itself that explains step by step how you can create your MyGov account. And we will put the link of that video in the description below. So make sure to watch that video as it explains a really easy way to open your MyGov account. Now once you got MyGov account ready, it's time to link ATO service. So you can link different services in MyGov account, but for lodging your tax return, you will need to link ATO, Australian Taxation Office. Now if you haven't done your tax return before in Australia, you may need to call ATO in order to get a linking code so that you can link your ATO account with your MyGov account. So you'll probably need to call them, speak to them and get that linking code. Once you got the linking code, it's quite easy to link your accounts. Now once you have got your MyGov account and you have got already linked it with ATO, then we go to the step number 2. And that's where I will start explaining on my computer. Let's jump and have a look over there. Once you have got your MyGov account and linked with ATO service, you will come to this home screen after logging in, and that's where you will lodge your tax return. Now there are various options available here. You can look at your taxes, your superannuation, employment and profile, and you can also see that we have lodgements available for this 2019-2020 tax return. So we'll go and press this prepare button. Now the next step in completing your tax return is to look at your contact details, making sure that your contact details are up to date. Alright, so make sure that your phone number, your email, your residential address, your postal address, which could be same as your residential address, make sure they are correct. If they are not, if they need to be updated, you can always click on edit button and update your details. The next step is regarding your financial institution details. So in this part, we will see that we have our account details, the bank account that is linked with ATO account. So if you need to edit your bank account details, you can add it over here as well. If not, then press next. So the next step is regarding your personalized tax return. First question is whether you are a resident for taxation purposes for 2019-2020. Then you have to select yes or no based on your situation. Now if you are studying in Australia for more than 6 months, you will become a resident for taxation purposes. But if you still want to confirm your residency status, you can click on this button, which is resident status for taxation purposes. It will bring you to another page. So this calculator gives you an idea if you are a resident for taxation purposes or not, and you can click on this button based on your situation. And at the end of this calculator, it will tell you whether you are resident or not resident of Australia for taxation purposes. Now we'll return back to this point, so we will select yes. And did you have any spouse between this financial year? Depending upon your situation, select yes or no. So I'm selecting no here. So if you're working as an employee in Australia, most likely you are going to receive salary or wages. So this is the box we need to select. And you can further select this box that you have received the money from your salary, wages, allowances, tips or bonuses. Now if you received any income from superannuation, you can select that also over here. And if you are going to work as a sole trader or you're working as a contractor in Australia, you will need to actually select this option. A lot of international students do work as a contractor, cleaning contractors or Uber Eats riders. They will need to select this option over here. We are just using an example of an employee, so we are not selecting this option. If you have any other foreign income that you may need to report and what other deductions you would like to claim, you can select those deductions over here as well. So work related expenses that are directly linked to your work can be claimed on your taxes. So we'll select this option. If you are an international student, the other things may not be applicable to you, but please read through them, make sure that they don't apply to you, and press next after that. The next part is completing your income statement. Most of the time this part is pre-filled, which means ATO will receive information from your employer and they will automatically update this in income statement or payment summary section. But in this case there is none, so we'll just update that over here. Now as we discussed earlier that this person worked in Coles supermarket as a cashier, so we will look for cashier, retail assistant, yeah, cashier, and we'll add our salary. So the person's working for Coles supermarkets. You can look up the ABN of Coles supermarket as well. So in this case we can quickly look up ABN of Coles supermarket. You can copy this ABN number, the total tax withheld, how much money was taken from your income, how much was your total payments during this financial year, and if there were any other allowances, any other benefits that you were receiving. And if there is none, then you can just scroll through, save this information and continue. Now the next part is regarding deductions. So you need to add any deductions that you can claim, any work related expenses that can be claimed in your tax return. So there are a few options available here. You can include work related car expenses, work related travel expenses, work related clothing, self-education, other work related expenses, interest deduction and gifts donations. So there are many options available for deductions here. Now if you're not sure what kind of things you can actually claim for your work related expenses, you can always click on this guide which will tell you about in your specific industry what can be claimed. So if we click on this button here, it will bring to a page where they specifically talk about retail workers deductions that can be possibly claimed in a tax return. So here are some expenses: car related expenses, grooming, laundry, maintenance, internet, phone, other expenses related to working from home and so on. Now we go back to our details here. So depending upon your expenses, in this case let's say this person had to wear a compulsory uniform, so we'll choose work related clothing expenses here, so compulsory uniform, and we are claiming here, let's say laundry expenses, we will put $120 for spending money. There could be some other work related expenses as well, so I'm going to add, which is a common sort of fees that most of the employees working in supermarkets pays, which is union fees. We'll claim another money that we are spending in this. So let's say we spent $150 for this, and we'll claim that in our tax return. So far we have claimed $270 in our expenses. If there are some other expenses, you can always include them in here. Now it's important to understand that if you are claiming more than $300 worth of deductions in your tax return, you will need to have a proof to substantiate it. So if ATO asks you for a proof of those expenses, you need to have them ready. Now the next part is about income tests. Now most of the time, this section may not be applicable to your situation. So if that's the case, you can leave this section as it is. Basically in this section, there is information regarding government pension, foreign income, child support you may have to pay. Now if this situation does apply to you, make sure you go and add this information over here. If not, you can leave this information as it is. And then you can press save and continue. Then the next part is to look at your Medicare and private health insurances. Now Medicare is a publicly funded healthcare system in Australia, and unfortunately international students don't have access to this Medicare. Most of the international students are exempt from paying this Medicare levy. So in this page you will add information as per your situation. Number of dependent children in this case is 0, and if you are exempt from category 1, 2, 3, you will select yes. How long you are exempt from this Medicare levy, let's say it's for the full year, so it's going to be 365 days, 0 in here. And were you a temporary resident for Medicare purposes? No. If you don't have to pay Medicare levy, the chances are that you're not going to pay a Medicare levy surcharge as well. So no as well. Now one very important thing, if you are exempt from Medicare levy, you need to get a Medicare entitlement certificate from Services Australia website. So you will need to complete this Medicare entitlement statement form, and you can get it for free by applying it on this website. And we'll make sure we'll put the link of this website in the description as well. And then you can add your health insurances over here if you have a private health insurance. If you don't have one, then save and continue. So just a quick summary so far, we have completed information regarding our income, our deductions we are claiming. We have also completed Medicare levy and other private health insurances. The last bit is about how did you complete this tax return. You obviously completed it yourself, so tick this box. If you got help from Tax Help Volunteer, you can select this option, but in this case, just prepare it myself. Will you need to lodge your tax return in the future? That will be based on your situation, but if you are going to lodge your tax return in the future years, then select yes and calculate. So in this case, we are estimating a refund of $1,959.30 from ATO. So most likely we are going to get this money as a refund from ATO. Once you have completed all these details, make sure you tick the box before lodging. That was basically a declaration that you are providing all the correct information and it's true information that you're providing. And once completed, press this lodge button and your tax return is lodged. And you will usually get a receipt number as well on the day when you lodge your tax return. Now it takes around usually 2 weeks to process this tax return. So you'll have to wait until you get a notification or email from MyGov. And that's how you lodge your tax return. Now if you find this video useful, you might find another video that we have on our channel that explains how you can legally pay less taxes in Australia as an international student. So please make sure to watch that video, and we got another video as well regarding general discussion on tax returns. And we'll make sure that we put all the useful links in the description as well. Well, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.